Hi everyone, it's Rach. Welcome to week 4 and welcome to the Australian Curriculum Literature strand this week. Literature is actually one of my favourite strands. I think I've said that before, just because obviously when you think of literature, you think about all of those great texts that you loved as kids. And I suppose it's something that's a little bit more concrete and you're able to sort of hang your hat on it a little bit more than the other two, because everyone can think back to stories and texts that they've read over time, ones that they really identified with, ones that you remember and have fond memories of. So we have all these sort of emotions attached to it. And even now with, sharing texts with my children and even sharing with my grades that I've had over the years, you can see how it sort of goes around in roundabouts where, we want to share stories that we loved as kids with the kids that we're with today. So I remember, reading The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe with my grade, reading it with my daughter. My daughter's into Paul Jennings at the moment because her teacher obviously read a lot of Paul Jennings as a kid, which certainly I did as well. So we've all got these really positive emotions when it comes to, certain authors and certain texts. So, I think that's pretty special. So you might even have some great kids' books that you wouldn't mind sharing with us this week, because I'd love to hear about that too. Our task for this week is obviously very similar to the past 2 weeks, where we're having a look at the strand and the substrands, and we're trying to think about some literacy demands and how it can relate to these particular content descriptors. Some things that jump out at me straight away, for example, over here on the right-hand side, is that the top one that I was looking at before? Yeah, it is. Make connections between students' own experiences and those of characters and events represented in text drawn from different historical, social, and cultural contexts. So we're looking at how to make connections back to that socio-cultural perspective. The fact that students can draw on their own knowledge. Everyone's coming from a different place, and they use that in terms of making connections to the text. There's making connections to the way different authors represent different storylines. We've got discuss here, which could be used as all these responding to literature is all important in terms of collaboration. So you're looking at it can also link to critical thinking, because not only do we talk, obviously we want to be talking and discussing about some good quality stuff. So we want to also think deeply about the text, think deeply about the characters, analyse and sort of break down the text. Is there any author bias? Is it similar to any other text we know of? Can we compare and contrast? What were these characters' motives? Why did they behave like that? What are some metaphors within the text? Why was the story called that? I reminisce to a time a few years ago when I had grade 5, 6s, and we were reading a story together called When Hitler Stole Pink Rabbit. And a lot of them said, why is it called that? Why is the story called that? And I said, well, look, that's going to be an interesting question that we look at down the track. And the more and more we read about it, a few weeks later, I had one girl in particular, and I'll never forget the day she came up to me and she goes, I get it now. I think the pink rabbit is a metaphor for their childhood. I was just blown away. And these are the things that make me so passionate about literature in particular, because where students get the underlying themes of the text. So we've got quite a few different substrands in there. So you've got responding, you've got examining, which is going to relate really well to critical thinking. And then you've got the creating side, where students use the knowledge that they've got to then create. So if you can share again, maybe a content descriptor that you think relates really well to your demand that you're focusing on. But also, if you want to extend it a little bit further, maybe even just sharing some great texts that we know and love. So if you've got a picture book that you really love and you want to share the title, share it with us. We love sharing, and people can put it in their toolbox and take it with them. If you've got some spare minutes, I'd love to have a laugh this week, because we're trying to make the DB is fun and engaging as possible. So if you've got a chance to do my little fun, hilarious story activity, go for it. I'd love to hear your stories and be laughing for the rest of the week. For those who celebrate, I hope you have a happy Easter. I hope everybody has a chance to spend some time touching base with family and having a little bit of a rest. I know you got an assessment due next week, so it probably doesn't make sense, but yeah. Otherwise, I'll see you on the DB.